Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Hudson, New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubh Das, who is live at the Govardhan Eco Village in India right now. And Mara, spinning the dials here, putting on our Facebook people. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Q&A Day. It's Sleep In Saturday. It means you get to sleep in until 8 o'clock before we get into our Bhagavatam questions. We do this every Saturday. If you want to join us on Zoom, we actually do the Bhagavatam every day. All you got to do is go to your email account, write Mara here, a email, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com, and she will give you the secret codes to enter into our little coven.
Is Coven? Coven?
Coven or coven?
I don't know. Coven? Is
think
that
it's
like
a
a
coven.
witch where the witches hang
No,
out?
Wicca. It's where the yeah. Yeah, we're white witches in one sense, don't you think?
Are we? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, we deal with the mystical side of life.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Maybe you don't. I do. That's why I'm in this whole thing. I've been promised mystical powers, Kaustubh.
All right.
How are you? How's India?
Oh, it's one. You know, I.
You
Oh,
look
it's
like
so
you're
much
in
I
a
can say.
Victorian bedroom.
Well, I'm in the I am in the Govardhan Eco Village, and it's just lovely rooms they got here. You know,
Yeah.
they're all made with a natural bricks that they don't even bake. It's just earth, and they squeeze it, right? Like they press it.
They don't bake those bricks?
No, they don't even bake these bricks. It's just a way
It's
that
like
you
a
press them.
no-bake cookie.
That's right.
They should make, if they really want to be eco-friendly, they should make houses built of no-bake cookies.
I
They
don't
could
know
just
how well they'll go over.
take a bite out of the wall.
Well, that's the problem, right? But anyways, you know, I came up here this morning. Oh man, you know what? Tomorrow we're gonna have this. We're gonna have a special New Year's Day show, right?
Yeah, excited about that. It's our New Year's Eve show. It's
And
not New Year's Day. Wait, is it New Year's Day?
New,
Oh,
it's
today is
Eve
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's New Year's Day, and we're gonna have a special show for you. It's our anniversary,
And
right? Our
that's right.
3-year anniversary.
that's correct. And maybe then I can talk more about some of the feelings, emotions, reflections that I'm having after 3 years being back in Chopati and
Kaustubh was having feelings.
feelings.
I
Right?
didn't know you had feelings.
I'll give you some feelings. You want some feelings? So anyway, it's beautiful here. I'm seeing people that I haven't seen in a long time, and the Eco Village is just looking beautiful. It's lush right now, and
Well,
just
we went
gorgeous.
there when it was literally piles of dirt and a yoga shala, like a simple. I mean, I
No,
remember
we were there before there was a yoga shala. There was just
No,
the
the first
the
thing we-
orphanage, the school, and the goshala.
well, maybe
right, the
you
cow
were.
house.
The first time I went there, I think.
No, you were there with me.
Oh yeah,
remember
that's
it.
right. And Maharaj was
Before
like, "We're gonna have a
anything.
forest over there. We're gonna have a pond over there. We're gonna have a cow sanctuary there." And I was like, looking at it, I was like, "Really? There?
Really?
Really? Are you?" Am I doubting New York's cynical side? Really? You gonna do that? That's gonna happen? And it
That's because
happened.
you were grumpy because you probably had just done your like 13th tour of the
Hospital.
Bhaktivedanta Hospital.
Uh,
But let's talk about that tomorrow. We got a lot to deal with today, Raghunath.
Yeah, a lot of good questions today. People writing questions. You're writing questions, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. You send us your question. We'll try our best. And if we can't answer, we bring in pros. That's what we did today. We brought in
That's
Kula
right.
Deep, who's a chaplain. He's a good friend. He's a pujari. He's deeply wise.
All of these things. But before we go there, we may have some announcements.
We do have some
Correct.
announcements. We have our Silver Tulsi Mala giveaway. Mary, want to share about that?
Go to Instagram and tag 3 people that you would like to share the Wisdom of the Sages podcast with. And then also tag Wisdom of the Sages and Silver Tulsi Mala.
But you got to say why the Bhagavatam has changed your life and
Yeah.
why Wisdom of the Sages maybe has changed your life. You can just say why the Bhagavatam has changed your life. And we're getting a few good ones.
Yeah, we got some good stuff.
We
so
got some
far.
good stuff. We've got these beautiful, beautiful Tulsi Malas. And I will say our friend Garanga Singha and his team has taken Tulsi Malas to the next level. They are gorgeous
Mm.
japa malas. They don't
Gorgeous.
break.
Let us
Gorgeous.
know tomorrow on the
They're
show.
Well,
absolutely
these ones
gorgeous.
that I wear, these are both silver Tulsi Malas. The
Do you
they have
just wear them for fashion, Raghunath? Is that what it's all
I
about?
wear them
you?
for fashion and for God consciousness.
Okay,
both.
thank you.
Thank you. I'll be
So-
honest.
and don't just say they're gorgeous. Say they're gorgeous and they're powerful, full of spiritual potency. They grant you.
They grant you whatever you want in mystical powers.
Okay.
Tulsi's a goddess. We keep Tulsi close
many
to us.
How many people get to win? Is just one winner, or are there
3 people.
several?
There's 3 people.
Okay.
One gets a bead bag, a painted bead bag, which they sell also. That's like the 3rd prize. Second
Okay.
prize are these neck beads,
Mhm.
similar to the ones I'm wearing here, which I don't think they're silver, but they're very nice. Really nice, thick Tulsi, and they're not going to break. And the first prize are these incredible japa malas. They're just so beautiful. Both you and I have a pair of them,
Nice.
but they took it up a notch. The last 8
Can we
beads,
compete in this? Can I write?
Yeah, it seems
how
like
Bhagavatam
Mara
says
and
about it?
Kastuba have won the first and second prize, and Kula won the 3rd prize. Okay. All right. What
All right,
else?
so let's get into this. Huh?
Other announcements. Another announcements, Mara.
We have,
Tomorrow show's at 8:00.
Tomorrow our show's
Right.
at 8:00, and we have Wisdom of the Sages retreat in Italy, June 27th through July 4th. And if people are interested, they can go to our website, click on events, and you got to send Vivi your money to reserve your spot.
Yeah, you can't just say I want to go. That means nothing to us. It's like I want to go. Here's my down payment. That means you want to go. Okay, you got to put the down payment. You know what happens? Otherwise, you could just walk away from it, and then we get stuck ordering all these rooms, and we have to pay out of pocket. So you got to put some money down. I don't think it's a lot of money, but it just means you're serious. You got to put your money where your transcendental mouth is, and your lotus-like mouth is, and then we've had 2. This is our
think all
3rd
you
in
have-
a row, and it's
Yeah.
quite wonderful way to go to
It's
Italy.
great. Yeah.
You know, it really is. Doing everything with the devotees is just more fun. It's not like it's less fun. It's fun. It's the food is great. What are you laughing at? Mara's
Mara,
listening today.
Control
This is-
yourself.
Sorry.
She's listening. What's
she's
going on?
listening. I'm the one that
When Mara
loses.
loses, we're really in trouble. Yeah. Okay, let's
All
get
right.
let's get moving forward here, you two. We got important questions.
Okay, let's get to our
No,
Okay.
we got to. Is Kelly Becker with us today?
Yeah, she
She
is.
is.
Okay, Kelly Becker sent in a question. It was so. Oh, we got to bring on Kula Pradeep first here, though. Let's bring on
Yeah, let's
Kula.
introduce Kula Pradeep.
Let's unmute him over here. Okay, Kula Pradeep, welcome.
Hi. Hello.
Kula Pradeep is an old friend of ours. He's very qualified. You know, Kelly Becker, she is an ICU nurse, right? Intensive care unit. And she wrote in a question that was just like so the things these nurses go through. It's so intense.
It's a tough
And,
job.
It's a very tough job. And the question was so heavy. Both Raghunath and I felt like we need to bring in some experts. We reached out to 3 people. We reached out to Kula Pradeepa, who we're going to speak about in a minute. We reached out to Dunya, who we've had on the show before. And we reached out to Ganesham. And we got written answers from Ganesham and from Dunya. And we have Kula Pradeep here today live, which we're really grateful to have you on the show. Actually, I think you've been on the show very briefly on the day of your wedding, right?
Yeah, you happen to
Right.
have the the podcast while we were getting ready. You were
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
priest.
And
You are a priest.
and yeah, and so Kula Pradeepa is a healthcare chaplain based and trained at the Newark University Hospital. And like Newark's a tough town. It's like I'm sure that hospital's like you see a lot in
Packed.
there. Yeah. And he has received his clinical pastoral education from the Institute for Clinical Pastoral Training, the ICPT, in conjunction with the Spiritual Care Association, the SCA. What is the Spiritual Care Association? I'm curious about that.
Well, when you're a chaplain, you have to have clinical pastoral training, or
Yeah.
CPE. And so there are a few kind of national organizations that people belong to.
And OS.
And so SCA is one of those organizations. There was some
Okay.
political strife, but there's a division.
Okay. And then you also serve as a purohit, or like you could say, like a priest. You do the rituals, for the Bhakti Center.
Yeah.
With a background in Pancharatra Vidhi and Samskars, the different sacraments or the different rites, which is, I think it's great that as a person that's doing pastoral care or like chaplaincy in a hospital,
Yeah.
that you have that whole Vedic background with so many deep insights into rituals and helping people through the different stages of life and the different challenges in life. So it's a great combination. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Do they call you on for all people or just people of Hindu faith?
They call me for all faiths. We have a team of chaplains. We see everybody, but then they're specific. If they ask specifically for Hindu, they'll call me also.
Okay. Now, Raghunath, would you like to read Kelly's question?
Yeah.
Okay. hit it.
This is Kelly. Haribol, I offer respects and love to you, Mara, Raghu, and Kastuba.
Thank you, Kelly.
Who's you then? I offer respects and love to you. I mean,
She's
I guess
the-
all of you.
To you, Mara,
All of you.
Raghu, and
Okay,
Kastuba.
I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you for continuously being the North Star in my life, as well as Prabhupada and Krishna. That was very sweet.
Thank you, Kelly.
As an ICU nurse, I see a lot. I am a very sensitive and empathetic person, and sometimes I take too much in.
Mm.
Phew. Right now, I have a 35-year-old patient who is a father, a boyfriend, a brother, a son, and a friend. He has gone through something life-shattering, has been in the hospital since August. Wow. Is awake and aware, but can only communicate by shaking his head yes or no. He has
He has to teach.
I'm sorry.
That's-
He has to teach and breathe through a ventilator. He cries every day. We don't even know if he'll ever leave this hospital.
It should be a trach, like those
Okay.
breathing
Okay,
tubes.
gotcha. Yeah, like a
I
chicken.
see.
We don't even know if he'll leave the hospital alive. I'm attached to him. I can't help it. He's alone a lot and needs extra love and connection. I give him as much as I can while I'm at work, but I often feel drained. I not only give a lot of my energy to him, but of course others, including trying to be motivational and supportive to my coworkers. My first question is, how do I give my patients what they need, but also have some energy for myself? And my second question pertains to death and dying. I'm not a very confident person, but I am confident in saying that I am good at taking care of patients who are dying. It's one of my callings or my dharmas. I just know it. I feel Krishna the most when I'm at work, and I feel him working through me to help others. Usually death isn't the hardest thing we see in the hospital. It's the long-term suffering that people go through. Much of the suffering is horrendous and so hard to witness. I would love to have some prayers to learn to offer to these people. For the ones who are suffering, and a prayer for those who are actively dying. I've had nurses come and get me when a patient is dying, just so that I can recite the Maha Mantra to them. And I usually play some songs, including some from Janavi Harrison. How sweet is it that my coworkers all do that? By the way, Kula is married to Janavi Harrison.
That's right. He gets
That's
it all the
pretty-
time.
That's a pretty good perk. You get that all the time. And you're not even dying. She's probably walking around the house just singing.
Singing all the time.
Yeah. So my second question is, can you offer me some prayers to offer to my patients when they are sick and also when they are actively dying? These prayers will also mean so much to me because you both chose them. Thank you so much for giving me hope, inspiration, and truth every day. That is beautiful.
Okay.
Kelly, by the way, if you ever meet Kelly, she is just
She's
like
a bright light.
she's an explosion of sunshine, explosion of light and joy. She's like a joy hand grenade, just like boom, and you feel joyous.
Well, imagine if you were, if suddenly you woke up in a hospital, you couldn't speak, you couldn't move,
Oh my God.
and you're lying like that for months. I mean, I would want Kelly Becker around, right? And
Yeah.
so in that sense, he's very fortunate. But okay, we have two questions. The first one had to do with how do I give my patients what they need, but also save some energy for myself. And then the second one was she was asking for prayers that she could share in regards to these people. Kula, would you like to share anything with us?
Yeah, I think yeah, we were talking with Danya and with Ganesham yesterday,
Mhm.
and
And by the way, I'll be reading some things from them in a bit, but first let's hear from you. Thank you.
well, one thing I think I was just reflecting on this recently, and if I could just, my first day in as a chaplain, they were doing a ceremony called blessing the hands. So I mean, all the chaplains went around from every department, and we would bless the hands of the nurses and the doctors. We would pray with them.
Wow.
And I remember because I came from this Gaudiya background. My supervisor's Buddhist, so like when we took a break, I went up to her and I didn't pray anything, and I said, I don't know how to do this. Like all I do is memorize stuff. I don't know how to pray. I don't know. I'm not used to just saying a prayer from my heart. And she said, yeah, I know. I totally get it, because she would also memorize these mantras and things like that. And she'd said, but don't worry about it, because it'll come to you. It'll come from your heart. And so that's one thing that Ganesham was reflecting. It's very true. Like when you have a prayer, you just have to be there. You have to know the person and what they need. There are mantras that we can say. I do, like you said, when I'm called in for a Hindu patient, I'll read them. But you have to think about your patient and the culture they come from, the language they speak. And when they hear those prayers, there's certain, like, I did become more familiar with it, especially like with terminologies, like I was with a lot of Baptist and Protestant priests, and they have so much, there's like a charisma and a charm, please bless so-and-so from the top of their head to the tip of their toes, both inside and
Yeah.
outside. And I'd be like, wow, like, how do you, like, but I heard there is a lexicon, but just after that, after I learned the lexicon, there is you're being present with that person. And if you know the pain that they're going through, you pray to God. Also, it takes knowing yourself, knowing God, and it starts with the name that you would choose. Some people say Almighty Father, oh beautiful Krishna, whatever, all pervasive. We know that you're present here now. We pray that you guide us in this healing process, or if whatever the next transition is, we pray, we know that you're here with him, and the patient, he'll hear those things that you want to assure for him. Those things are there, but it has to come from your heart, and knowing the person. And so I'm saying that it's something that I was talking with my wife recently. Like, we don't pray. We started to start just praying from the heart, just being thankful at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, reflecting on life, the things that are going through our life. So it is a practice, just like japa, for example. It's a good practice to have a daily practice to speak in your own words a prayer to God of gratitude and blessings, asking for guidance and things like that.
So you're suggesting that you can connect with an individual by understanding them and then just sharing your own prayer from what you see their need is.
Yeah. There was a discussion about spiritual care at the Bhakti Center, and I said that the best people that give spiritual care, it's not chaplains we're trained in, but the people who give the best spiritual care are the people who are in that person's life, because they know it's like a genuine thing. They know what to give. They know how to speak. They also feel that vulnerability to pray and say, oh, I wish that I pray to God that this could help us in this difficult circumstance. So I know also nurses have come up to me and said, "What do I say?" And there are a variety of things. I could pray the Lord's Prayer. I could pray the Rosary. I went to Catholic school. And that's exactly what some people want to hear. But
Right.
it has to kind of be, understanding who the person you are with.
Well,
the
to
family.
speak to that, let me read from. There's still more that we'd like to hear from you, Kula Prabhu,
Yeah.
particularly about the next part of her question. But let me read from Ganesham some of what he says first, and it's similar to what you're sharing. He says a couple of thoughts, and he begins, rather than a general set prayer for people who are we should mention Ganesham we've had him on the show several times. He's also a hospital chaplain, and he especially deals with people that are dying and their families. So he says, rather than a general set prayer for people who are suffering, if we can pray from what we've learned to be the essence of their need, with all the personal details of what they're going through and who they are are most often deeply touched by those prayers. Right. He said, he says, really understand the details of what they're going through. He continues, it requires we listen to them while asking the question to ourselves internally, what is the essence of their need right now? What is happening behind their words? What is most important to them right now? And of course, for Kelly, this is going to be difficult because he can't speak. But obviously, there's some communication going on between the two of you, and these are the questions that you have to search for the answers for and speak to. I'll read them again. What is the essence of their need right now? What is happening behind their words? What is most important to them right now? Once we've identified the heart of their suffering and the heart of their need, we can sincerely pray using this understanding in our prayer. People are often stunned that they've been understood so deeply, and they can feel a healing gratitude to be seen and heard so well. A major part of the suffering is the feeling of loneliness and isolation that accompanies the physical challenges. Right? Imagine what this poor person is going through in the hospital when they can't even speak to anyone. He says, but if our words and our prayers display a true understanding of their pain and need, it may help to heal things a little and bring back faith and trust in goodness, love, meaning, i.e., faith in God. So that was the first part of his thing about prayer. That's what he wanted to share. And so, yeah, he's saying, it has so much to do with understanding exactly what their need is, and then praying in detail on that point. All right. And Kula, would you like to continue with on the second part of that, or it was really the first part of the question, which had to do with, she's giving so much. She sees this person in such need, and she's giving her heart, she's giving her time, she's giving her energy, and it can be very draining. What does a person like this do? How can they give to their patients? How can we give care to people that need our care, and at the same time save energy for oneself?
Yeah. One thing I know is that I'm in a public hospital. Newark is a very, very busy hospital. And well, one thing we do as chaplains is we also provide spiritual care for the staff, the nurses and doctors, like the blessing of hands. I think it's one thing is important to make sure that at the hospital that they have that's there, that there's something, whether it's a wellness room or time or something like that. But speaking to what your experience is, I've also, I've had that, what some people call compassion fatigue. And it's about knowing where you're being affected, and perhaps even what your line is, how much you can be connected. Not because it's just professional, but it's a very difficult field. And there are times where I've been in the ER, and then 2 days later I'm just driving and like tears are just coming out of my eyes from that patient 2 days ago. You don't know what you store. You experience many things, and as in the hospital you store them. because in the hospital things are just moving, and so you're just reacting and doing things. You go home, you wake up, you go back the next day. So you have to be aware of yourself. It's helpful to have like grounding prayers every morning before you start and after. But you should also have like what we call here Sangha. You should have a group of people you could speak to and talk about these things. So the chaplains a lot of times will pull me aside and say, so what happened there? How you feeling? Close the door and say, how you feeling? Like that case.
Chaplains are caring for each other.
Chaplain to each other, yeah. And so nurses should do that, or the chaplain at the hospital could do that. I know there's a lot of nurses that come to the office and say, can I speak with you? So it's also helpful if they're there for you also. And those are things to consider.
That's really helpful. I'll read what Ganesham shared on this point. And he mentions the same thing that you mentioned, is that the staff, the chaplain, the staff needs the chaplains too, not just the patients. So he said, several nurses I work with expressed similar challenges over giving, similar challenges of over giving or over identifying with their patients. They asked me to write and say a prayer for them. He said, I'll include it here. It's really a prayer for the person asking the question. So this is a prayer for you, Kelly, that you could say yourself if you like. And it goes like this. My dear God, sometimes our emotions get too entangled with our patients' struggles, their emotions, hopes, fears, and sufferings. Please let us feel enough to be present, feel enough that our actions and words of caring are sincere and ring true, but also help us to untangle ourselves and keep mended the boundaries that allow us to return back to ourselves with peace, strength, and gratitude. Let us accept everything and then let go of everything, so that our hearts may be renewed and remain steadily engaged in your divine service. He's really, Ganesham is really, you can see there's not a wasted word here. It's all very rich and in its meaning. But should I read that quickly just one more time, just to hit those again?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot here. My dear God, sometimes our emotions get too entangled with our patients' struggles, their emotions, hopes, fears, and sufferings. Please let us feel enough to be present, feel enough that our actions and words of caring are sincere and ring true, but also help us to untangle ourselves and keep mended the boundaries that allow us to return back to ourselves with peace, strength, and gratitude. Let us accept everything and then let go of everything, so that our hearts may be renewed and remain steadily engaged in your divine service. Really, really nice stuff. Now, I also have some points from Danya on this particular topic. Danya, she has a master's degree in counselor education and holds a specialist degree in couples and family therapy. So she's speaking more on to this part of the question, less to the part about prayers. But let me pull up what she gave me. She wanted to be on the show today, and caregiver that she is, she was caring for her infant all night who had a fever, and it just kept her up all night, and she's busy caring for her child right now. So she apologized that she couldn't come on, but she left a list of bullet points, and I'll read the bullet points. And honestly, some of them are a little cryptic. Some of them are more, easy to understand, but even the cryptic ones, maybe just knowing the nature of her work, maybe Kelly will be able to understand them better than I understand them. But this is what she says. And so this has so much to do with the caretaker caring for themselves. You know what I really appreciated, Raghunath, about Ganesham's thing?
What?
Was the way that he wrote that. It seemed to me like he was it was all about, let me be prepared to serve. So let me take it all in, but then let me let it all go. Because the fact is, my being lost in emotions about this 24/7 isn't even helping the patient. It's not helping me. It's not helping anyone.
Right.
Taking it in as much as I need so that I can speak to them and they understand that I care and I can help them. That's as much as I need. And then I need to let it go and
Yeah.
refresh myself and prepare myself for the next day and for the next patient, for the next service. Right?
It's like the fireman has to be completely suited up with the hose, with the axe, with the boots, with the oxygen before they can go in and help anybody, or else we
Sure.
get dragged in. And then I found that with Gopal this year when we were trying to take care of him when he was leaving his body. It's like, if I get too emotional with this, he's going to have to start comforting me. And that's what we don't, that's what I don't want to happen. And there were times when people would come in and he said, "Don't worry, everything's okay." All of his friends from high school are coming and crying. So yeah, we have to be that rock so they can leave, because we want them to grieve. We want them to to let that out.
Okay, so Danya speaks well to this. She says, identify the symptoms of burnout. Okay, that's the first thing she says. In others, we should be able to understand when this is going too far by certain
Fire's getting
symptoms.
too hot. Fire's getting too
Yes.
hot. I got to get out of there. This is
So
not
maybe-
good for anybody.
Yeah, maybe that's something you want to write down. Here are my symptoms of burnout: A, B, C, and D. Right?
Yeah.
She said, seek help: individual therapy, group therapy, or warm line. Kula, do you know what warm line is?
No, I actually don't know what the term is. It sounds like people
Okay.
to connect to. I don't know.
Maybe it was like
Okay.
warm tea.
Oh, warm lime. Heat up a lime.
Warm it up and then suck it. I don't know what a warm lime is.
I don't know. Warm line.
It's a support line you can call in for support.
Okay.
It's a support line.
Okay, warm line. Okay, great. Here's the next one. Basic biological needs like sleep, nourishment, intentional movement, time in nature, and touch. She said, I guess she's saying make sure that these remain alive in your life and you don't lose touch with these. Then she says, therapy will identify ways that helping others may have a shadow, perhaps roots in the past that could be worked through. Interesting. Right?
Yeah.
Make a hierarchy of the most stressful to the least stressful types of interactions, and make a plan for self-soothing that is portable and flexible. Very interesting, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are the most, like, I guess it's the idea is, let me make a hierarchy of the most stressful situations I'm in and the least stressful. And then when I'm in that stressful situation, most stressful situation, I'm really aware of my vulnerability, I suppose, at that time. And then I have a portable and flexible self-soothing practice. With, I likely
like
involves
that.
breathing and, yeah. Okay. Here's the next point. Spiritual strength comes from spiritual activities and spiritual association. If we believe our work is our dharma and it is our offering to Krishna, then our connection to our higher power itself will, quote unquote, carry what we lack. She's alluding to Bhagavad Gita verse there. Reassessing can happen on a daily basis and on tough days on an hourly basis. Check in with your nervous system first. Am I getting run down?
That.
Check in.
I need
Let's
to do
all
that.
check in.
I'm taking all this advice personally. This is good for me. This is good for me.
Good stuff. And then here's the final one. Krishna has got everyone. He's got you. I just need to be fully with what's right in front of me and offer that to him. He is the doer, not me. That's real important too, right? We're not the saviors. We can't save anyone, but
Right.
we can try to be there fully with them and allow Krishna to do his work. So those were the thoughts that were shared by Danya. Any last thoughts you have on this question, Kula Pradeepa, that you'd like to share?
Just one last thing, and
Sure.
one thing they teach in chaplaincy school is something called the ministry of presence, and that just like presence is a very powerful thing. That to be in someone's life where they acknowledge, like they know that they're being seen, they know that they're heard, they know that people know that they're there.
Yeah.
It's actually the core principle of chaplaincy, and I think it's the core principle of healthcare, really. That the patient knows that they are recognized, that they are there. It's a very difficult situation to be in that room, stuck isolated in the room, not knowing when someone's coming to visit or if people are not coming to visit, or how long you've been there after some time. So presence is a very powerful thing. It sounds just like present. I'm present. You raise your hand, but presence is actually a very, very powerful thing.
Wow.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I was thinking as I was reading that question, thinking about the experience of this person. You know, throughout the Bhagavatam, we're 4 cantos through. We just finished the 4th canto yesterday. And, you know, through 2nd canto, 3rd canto, and 4th canto, we hear descriptions about like creation. And when it speaks about creation, it speaks about the creation of the senses, right? That there's this power to speak, a power to hear, a power to see. And we're granted these powers. The power of our senses has so much to do with our experience in this world, and to have them suddenly withdrawn, right? I can't speak to anyone, I can't communicate
Yeah.
the way that I use. It must be so unsettling, so
Frustrating.
terrifying, even frustrating, terrifying.
Yeah.
And then to be sitting there alone in that room for hours and hours on day, not even able to fully express yourself, and to live with that, not
if
even
there's-
knowing where this is going,
Or if there's
without
Or if there's pain
This-
involved with it, like you're sitting in your pain,
I imagine
know,
that's probably there
and
too.
you can't move, and you don't, and you don't know when people are going to come visit you next, and perhaps the nurse on staff is not speaking to me. When you just sort of need a friend, the whole thing is scary. The whole thing
Yeah.
is scary. Maybe we should have Kelly say something.
I was wondering if Kelly's comfortable, if you'd like to share a few words. Would you like to do that, Kelly?
I'm going to ask her to unmute.
Very
Kelly,
Very
great
bold.
question. Thank
so
you for sharing that.
Much for all these answers. Are beautiful and very helpful.
Well, it's a wonderful service that you're doing. I honestly, people like you, Kelly, people that work in what these nurses go through, what people that care for, people that are handicapped, people that have autism, people, when I see people working under those conditions every day, I feel so I actually feel like I'm doing nothing, like, in this world. I'm so impressed by people like yourself that take up these kind of services. So thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to share that it seems that the more technology that we have, the longer we can keep people alive. It seems the more suffering seems to happen. It's, we saved his life. He has this trach. He's on this ventilator, but now what? Now what?
Right.
We're dragging his life on. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact, but there is what Kostuba said is true. It's like, it's so happy. It makes me so happy when people are engaged in what they're supposed to do. There's nothing worse than you being like, why is this person in this position here? You're supposed to be a waitress and you don't even want to be here, or a waiter and you don't even want to be here. When you're a caregiver and you don't care. The fact that, because we know you and we know how caring you are and spiritual you are, thank God for all the people under your care. But you have this idea of your self-nourishment versus burnout is a real scary thing. So thanks for bringing that up. And we have a lot of people who are EMTs, who are what else are they? Surgeons, foot doctors, all types of things.
Like therapists.
Therapists,
Like
yeah.
that, I think you get a lot of burnout too.
Yeah, cops. We got
Mhm.
cops and firemen who listen to the show, and they just see the worst of existence, stuff that me and Kostuba never see. Me and Kostuba are living in fantasy land here. Hare Krishna. We don't see.
It's quite like
Kostuba.
that.
Now look at Kostuba there in that beautiful Victorian bed. It's like I've never seen it in pain. So anyway, Kostuba.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you so much, Kula. And I thank you both for the service that you do for people. You've found a way to tie in your devotional life to a really practical way of helping people that requires a lot of selflessness, a lot of self-sacrifice. So that's a beautiful thing. Thank you both for that.
Thank you. And also thank you to the Bhakti Recovery Group for helping with codependency, which just goes
Ooh,
right in
Back to
along.
recovery.
right. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay.
And
Thank
thanks,
you.
Kula.
Very well.
Thank
It's the
you.
Kula and Kelly show. I could see that happening.
Well, there's a Kelly, right? Kelly and Kula. Right?
Kelly.
Okay, so I got a question for you now, Raghunath. You ready?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So this is an anonymous question. It was emailed to us, and our anonymous questioner asked, "Hello, I have a question. when it comes to devotional service.
Okay.
My wife and I both have children from our previous marriages. Our girls are picky eaters. Compounded.
You lobbing me the softballs again.
I don't think this is a softball. I think this is a
Okay.
tough question.
Okay. All right. Give me.
Our girls are all picky eaters, compounded with some allergies and the split time between homes. I'm left cooking things for the children that I know are not the healthiest options,
Yeah.
just to get them to eat something and avoid being a short order cook.
Get that.
My wife and I try to eat very clean, simple foods that heal our bodies.
Yep.
So it is easy for me to find joy and love when preparing our meals. How do I hold the space and find the same love and joy when I'm preparing food that I struggle to find any health benefits in?
Parenting. I get it. I think this is not just food. It's everything that the parent does when the parent's trying to be a sage-like leader to a child. And they have to become expert, and it's hard. They have to become expert in how to distribute the medicine. If you distribute too much medicine, you kill the child. If you don't distribute any, they don't get better. So in this case, the analogy means I want my child on a spiritual, healthy path. And I don't want my child consumed by materialism and consumerism. And so you have to know how much sense gratification to give a child, with not that they're just spoiled brats in love with consumerism, and how much you should back off and give them spiritual discussion, spiritual talk, spiritual information, spiritual rituals, spiritual prayer, and you've got to be expert at that. And with each child, it's going to be different. When it comes down, and I just did this whole thing, I took the kids up for this thing, snowboarding. And it's not like I'm crazy about snowboarding. At my age, I can't even, my whole body just doesn't want to snowboard. But I did it because I think it's a good thing to bond with the family in between the cracks of snowboarding. Just being on a chairlift with a child. You could say, well, how is that spiritual at all? There's something in a bond. You get to just talk to your children and just be with them in a quietude as you go up a chairlift. So and then you have to figure out, okay, and how where can we take this in a spiritual way? And there's always that balance going on. And so I think when you're cooking for your child, even if you feel like, man, this ain't the healthiest food, what you're doing is they're not tasting the food, and it's not even the food that's nourishing them. It's not some phytonutrient that's nourishing them. They're eating love, and they're eating the fact that mom and dad love me, or even mom and my stepmom love me, or mom and my stepfather love me. And that is feeding them more than any vitamin. And that's a huge thing. And I think to just sit there, prepare food for children is massive. And our culture has just threw it in the trash, and they're left to fend for themselves with bowls of cereal. And so I think it's beautiful what you're doing, and it's paying off. And it's the best we can do. If it doesn't pay off, that's all we can do. But I think that's the best thing you do. And I think everything in parenting is like that. And sometimes a kid won't see it either. That's another thing. It's not like we can control a child to even accept the love. They might accept it, but they may not be mature enough in this lifetime to even appreciate, because appreciation is a sign of your spiritual evolution. And so sometimes people just never grow into an appreciating being. But all we can do is what we can do is, and we said yesterday, we're here to give love. And that's one way to do it, through cooking.
That's, you just spoke to one point that I noticed, and I don't want to come off callous when I say this.
Are we going to talk about the Just Egg stuff again? Is that where we're going with this?
Trying to help you with that, Raghunath, you and your children.
What? There's a lot of eggs that people just eat. I don't want my kids eating eggs, so I cook them with lots of love.
I found another product for you, Raghunath. That's the similar kind of thing, but they use a better oil than that canola oil, which is really
what's
bad.
it called?
I was called something like
version of Just Eggs.
Simply Just Eggs or something like that. Simply Not Eggs, or I'll find it for you.
Okay, you make me some. Tell me if it's good. I'll tell you if it's good.
Okay.
Bring it
I'm
to the
just
Eco
suggesting it
Village.
to you.
I'll bring some.
Okay, but again, I want to say this, and I don't want to sound callous, but it has something to do with the nature of service and the nature of bhakti. That when our anonymous questioner wrote, they wrote about, it's easy for me to find joy and love when I'm preparing our meals, but how do I find that same kind of love and joy when I'm preparing food that I struggle to find any health benefits in? And just part of, I suppose, what I wanted to speak to this, it just reminded me of Arjuna at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, where he's saying, how am I going to find any joy in doing this duty that I have to do? Right. And Krishna, in a sense, was saying that's not your concern. Your concern is to do it because it's the right thing to do. Right. And part of being like a dharmic person in life means that we do things not necessarily to extract joy from the service itself, but we do things because of the right thing, because of the noble thing to do. And we have the faith that kind of action leads to a joyous and higher quality life.
Yeah.
You know? But that we don't necessarily look for joy in the things that we do, but we do the things that are right, and we, and we live with the faith that joy will find me, or I will find the joy that is my nature through that. But I appreciated your answer, and I appreciated the question too.
Yeah, great
so
question.
many challenges, right? So many challenges in life
with these
parenting,
kids. With these kids.
Yeah.
Huh. I think that might be it for the show, my friend.
Yeah, I think, man, we wrap it up there, and we'll come back for tomorrow for the.
What are you going to do at the
today's-
Eco Village today?
There's a program tonight. It begins in a half an hour. Guranga Prabhu is giving a class, like it's like a New Year's Eve program going on here. It's a party right now. There's a party
New Year's
going
Eve
on.
party. You know what? We're doing parties, people. We don't have to. You want to be spiritual? You still get to party. This whole thing is a party. It's a Sankirtan party. We come together, we sing, we eat, we dance around, we have fun, we're reckless and crazy, and we let our hair down when we have hair. And that's what we do, but it's just upgraded versions of the, we're not staying up to midnight. We're going to bed we're still going to bed at 8:30. It's a party before the sun sets.
All right. Anyway, everyone have a nice party tonight. So, and tomorrow we'll have a chance to look back at the previous year and look forward to the next year. Why don't we do that on the show tomorrow?
Yeah. Hey, put your looking forward to tomorrow's last or anniversary show, and make sure you put your Tulsi Mala post up today, because we're having giveaways tomorrow. We're announcing giveaways tomorrow.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, they got to do it now.
Yeah. We're gonna mail those out
if
before
we don't
we
get
leave.
3 in, do I get one of the prizes?
If you write something how the Bhagavatam has affected you, and me and Mara are impressed with it, then you will. Otherwise, you will not.
Why don't I get to be a judge here? What's going on?
Because I've got ins with them.
All right.
Want to thank Kula. Thanks for joining the show, Kula. Great to have you again.
Thank you, Kula.
Kula's hardcore. Just in case you think here's this priest from the heavens that came down. He's hardcore.
Well, I said to Genevieve, I never thought that you were going to marry someone with the black flag tattoo. But there you go.
Flag tattoo?
That's right.
Oh. He's like, she's never seen it yet. He keeps that hidden well. Anyway, and thanks to Dunya and Ganesham for also their contribution. Thanks to everybody who joins us live. Please join us live. And thanks for everyone who supports this show. It's a community-supported podcast. Go to Wisdom of the Sages. Go to patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages for any type of contribution. And we really appreciate it. It helps us do what we do and keeps it going. Thank you very, very much. It's a new year. I'm excited. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get you all. It's all prep for your New Year's resolutions. It's your makeover Sunday, we're going to call it.
You got to share that little reaction, Raghunath. You see what I did?
No.
This one, look at that. You say boom. See that?
Oh, boom. You're
That's a celebratory kind of Zoom thing we're doing here.
We're going to do our own
What do you call that? What is that? Like a confetti
It's
thing?
an emoji.
No, but like, what does it represent? Is it like confetti or
A
something?
party
What-
hat that explodes.
Yeah, is that
And then
pinata?
confetti
What is that
comes out of
thing?
your head.
It's like a cone full of confetti. What is it?
There's one person who must have a job where they come up with emojis.
Oh, that's not even
Of course.
There's probably teams
They
of
don't
people,
just.
Mara says.
They didn't just come on their own accord, Rogan. What do you think? They
No,
evolved?
it's pretty cool though. These guys are like probably the most important people in the world.
They're kind of right now, aren't they?
They are. They're creating their own alphabet. If you think about it, people speak in emojis. You know how many text messages I write back to? None. I just send them a winky face, a heart eyes, a blowy kiss, big juicy lips. I don't send that to anybody. Who are you, Mara? Yeah, it's like, who are you sending juicy lips to?
She said, not me. So who are you sending them to?
Send them to my mom. Mom, you get juicy lips. Although it's weird, are those girls' lips or men's lips? Because they're red, you think maybe it's just lipstick. I don't know if I should even be allowed to send them.
I think they're definitely female lips, but they represent a kiss.
They represent
in a
the kiss.
general.
That's why I thought it was a Leslie Vente says modern hieroglyphics. That's exactly. But mine really consists of namaste hands, which I'm sure everybody does. Namaste hands. I do fist bump a lot. That's a good.
Devotees use that a lot.
Especially during the pandemic, it's fist bump only. I'm not giving out hugs. I'm fist bumping
Look at-
people.
Look at this one,
and
Rogo. Boom.
The king hat. I should do that.
The crown. Crown.
The king hat. We also call it
Yeah,
king
what was
hat.
that, Rock King hat?